Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this webinar about the NCUA's Modernized examination tools. I'm Lisa Dolan from the Office of Business Innovation. Joining us from OBI today are Director Kelly Lay, Supervisory Special Assistants Amber Gravius and Robert Parrish, and my counterpart, Business Innovation Officer Mike Brown. We may have time to answer a few questions at the end of our presentation today. To submit a question, please use the Submit Question box in the lower half of your webinar console. But before we start, here are 4 technical tips to make sure that you can see the console and hear the presenters. First, for NCUA staff, please make sure you are not connected to the VPN, as that will slow down our connection significantly. Second, make sure you allow pop-ups from this website. Third, if your display is not clear, set your screen resolution to at least 1024 by 768 to see the presentation. And finally, if your volume sounds too low, check to ensure your volume is turned all the way up, both on your computer and the webinar console. If that doesn't work, you may need to plug in external speakers. The NCUA Chairman, the Honorable Todd Harper, would like to say a few introductory remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and good afternoon, everyone. I am pleased to join you all and appreciate your interest in today's webinar about the NCUA's modern examination tools and systems. Before we begin, I would like to thank Kelly Lay and her entire team in the NCUA's Office of Business Innovation for planning and coordinating today's session, as well as their steadfast efforts over the last several years in helping the agency to complete a sizable technological transition. Since joining the NCUA board, I have often noted that 3 of the main tenets of my regulatory philosophy are that the NCUA should be innovative, forward-looking, and risk-focused. Just as the world and the credit union industry changes, the NCUA must also adapt to marketplace changes and technological developments. That is exactly what we are doing through the deployment of the new Modern Examination and Risk Identification Tool, or MERIT for short, and its associated systems, which together will modernize the agency's examination, data collection, and reporting efforts. Now, we need your support to move ahead with implementing MERIT. The NCUA began transitioning to MERIT and its related applications last month. This new tool leverages technological innovation to ensure the continued safety and soundness of the credit union system and streamlines examination processes, which in turn helps to protect credit union members. As we begin using MERIT, we will discontinue using ARIES, the examination system that has served us well over the last quarter of a century. Much has happened technologically since 1995 when the agency first deployed ARIES. Broadband, Wi-Fi, cloud computing, smartphones, tablets, and virtual assistants have all come into being during the last 25 years. And each of these tools has profoundly altered the way we live, regulate, and conduct personal financial transactions. Likewise, much has changed throughout the credit union industry since 1995. In the 1990s, many credit unions were making the transition to greater automation and electronic records and using dial-up internet to meet their members' financial needs. In contrast, sophisticated credit unions now provide remote deposit capture, online banking, and mobile apps to their members, and some have even begun to deploy machine learning and other forms of artificial intelligence in their operations. With so many changes in the way that credit unions and the NCUA operate taking place since 1995, it makes sense that MERIT is a completely different system than ARIES, and that it will change everything we do in examinations, from how we manage workflow and request documents to how we evaluate a credit union's performance and prepare and deliver exam reports. Merit and its related systems give us a new set of analytical capabilities that both examiners and credit unions will appreciate. During today's webinar, you will learn more about these applications and their many benefits. For example, you will learn about the Data Exchange Application, or DEXA, through which credit unions can send member loan and share data to the NCUA for examination purposes. You will also learn about NCUA Connect, a common entry point for authorized users to securely access NCUA's applications, and the NCUA's admin portal, which provides state regulatory agencies and credit unions access to NCUA Connect and other examination-related applications. And as you begin learning and using Merit and these and other applications, remember that you can access additional information on these resources on the Enterprise Solution Modernization Program's webpage found on ncua.gov. So please make the most of this important webinar and be sure to ask a lot of questions at the end. In closing, I encourage you, as always, to be safe, be well, and be kind. And now I turn the program over to Kelly Lay. The floor is yours, Kelly.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kelly Lay, and I'm the Director of our Office of Business Innovation with the NCUA, and also the executive sponsor of our Enterprise Solution Modernization Program. The Enterprise Solution Modernization Program was established in 2015 to help NCUA staff do our jobs of regulating and supervising credit unions better and smarter. The program's purpose is to modernize NCUA's technology solutions to create an integrated examination and data environment and facilitate a safe and sound credit union system. The NCUA's modernization program includes underlying goals of providing emerging technology, a single point of access to applications, and enhanced analytics to provide value and create a positive impact for both NCUA staff and our stakeholders. The modernized solutions discussed today are integrated and allow users to access information needed for the examination from one platform. Always keeping the end user in mind, we streamlined forms and processes to reduce redundant data entry. Although Merit can't do everything, the application is flexible and will continue to evolve with feedback from our users and changes in our examination program. As the NCUA's modernization efforts continue, we have an opportunity to integrate applications and data from other sources for centralized access and view of a credit union. This will also benefit agency staff, so they have one place to find information about a credit union. We also foresee the capacity for more off-site work by continuing to enhance our analytic capabilities, potentially leading to earlier risk identification. Next slide, please. Our team of IT and business professionals reviewed the scope of the Enterprise Solution Modernization Program and prioritized the most critical legacy applications to modernize first. At that time, we prioritized the need for a secure single point of entry to interact with the NCUA and access NCUA applications. This common entry point is called NCUA Connect and authenticates and authorizes users with layered security and multi-factor authentication. It is a reusable, secure portal, and we anticipate adding more applications in the future. Three of the applications on NCUA Connect we're going to discuss today include the Admin Portal application, which is used to add and manage the users for your credit union, Merit, NCUA's Modernized Examination application, which replaced NCUA's legacy examination application, ARIES, that is over 25 years old. And lastly, DEXA, a new application to upload member loan and share files. Your use of our modernized tools described today is optional. However, we believe you will find value in the tools and experience exam efficiencies by choosing to become users. I will now turn the presentation over to Robert Parrish to discuss the Admin Portal application.
Thank you, Kelly. The Admin Portal application provides confirmed delegated credit union administrative users the ability to manage user access to NCUA Connect and NCUA applications for their organization. This includes adding new users, removing obsolete users, granting application access, and resetting passwords. This new application delivers operational efficiency by alleviating the need for NCUA resources to add users, reset passwords, and other functions for thousands of users. Although this puts more responsibility on credit unions and state supervisory authorities to remove obsolete users, active users of NCUA Connect will realize the benefits of more immediate access to applications with this decentralized user model. Once you have access to the admin portal application, you will see a dashboard similar to the one displayed in the slide. It is a user-friendly interface that allows you to add new users from the button in the upper right corner, view and search for your users, and take actions on each user. Each application on NCUA Connect has unique permissions. Admin portal administrators can choose a merit role for their users. Although Merit and DEXA are separate applications, we combine the permission structure. Therefore, if you have a merit role, you also have access to DEXA. However, there are different credit union roles to choose from for merit. The credit union view all role allows a user to upload loan and share files through DEXA, respond to document request surveys, view and respond to exam concerns, and download completed exam reports. We also created a more restrictive role, the credit union limited view role, for users who do not need access to examination information, but will respond to document request surveys. This user can also upload loan and share files through DEXA. More information about the admin portal functions is available on the NCUA's NCUA Connect and Admin Portal webpage and in the user guide. I will now turn it over to Mike Brown.
Thank you, Robert. The NCUA regulates and insures credit unions from the smallest volunteer-based institutions to very large, complex financial institutions. As we embarked on our market research for an Ares replacement, we knew that we needed a flexible, scalable, and user-friendly solution to support our mini examination and supervision programs. We also wanted a solution where we could interact securely with credit unions, provide efficiency in the examination process, and to support the NCUA's goal of more off-site work. Merit provides examiners with a single application to document their exam results, generate the report issued to the credit union, and follow up on exam concerns. We were able to introduce new and improved processes and IT capabilities, including workflow management, data integration and analytics, and document management. The highly configurable nature of the tool will enable the NCUA to be more agile in the future and adapt to changing business needs. Additionally, Merit provides a way for examiners to securely interact with credit unions and for the NCUA and state supervisory authorities to work jointly together on examinations. In the next portion of our presentation, we will focus on the functions credit unions can do in Merit. The first thing we want to share with you is the landing page for Merit. You will notice there are tabs across the top of the screen known as the navigation bar. The Issues tab is where a credit union can provide updates and request due date changes to previously identified examination concerns. The Respond to Surveys tab includes document requests, known as surveys, allowing credit unions to securely transfer documents to the exam team. The Exams tab is where users with the credit union View All role can access and download completed exam reports. Lastly, on the right side of the screen is the My Tasks menu that lists the tasks assigned to the logged in user. A task in Merit could be to respond to a document request or an examination finding. Next, we will discuss each of these functions in a little more detail. We will first highlight the ability to securely transfer documents to an examiner through the Systems Survey functionality. By configuring out-of-the-box functionality, examiners can send a document request list to a credit union through Merit. The credit union user will receive an email notification indicating they have a survey request in Merit. The user will log in to NCUA Connect, open Merit, and can attach documents to the form. Once complete, the credit union will submit the form back to the examiner in Merit. The documents are immediately available to the examiner and their team members. Credit unions can also add other credit union users as collaborators to assist them in completing these requests if desired. Additionally, there are several reports available. These reports provide a list of all document requests submitted through Merit with links to the actual form submitted to the examiner and the documents provided. There are several benefits to using this functionality. First, we divided the document request list, also known as the items needed list in ARIES, into smaller request lists by topic or risk area. This allows the examiner to send multiple smaller survey forms to the credit union and provides a more organized way to receive these documents. Attaching documents to the requested survey form reduces examiner time searching for documents and submitting duplicate requests back to the credit union. Also, because the requests are divided by topic or risk area, the credit union can add collaborators or other people who can assist with fulfilling the request. The collaborator functionality provides flexibility for the credit union so requests can be completed timely. Further, credit unions can send individual completed surveys on a flow basis back to the examiner. As previously mentioned, the credit union also has several reports that provide users the ability to print an individual survey form or view the completed survey sent back to the examiner. Document request surveys also provide efficiencies for examiners. We created a report that lists all of the documents requested of the credit union and the status to mitigate duplicate requests for the same documents. Additionally, once a survey is submitted back to the examiner through Merit, all members of the exam team will have access to those documents. When it's time for the first Merit exam, we encourage you to talk to your examiner about these new capabilities that are now available. I will now turn it over to Amber Gravius to discuss the Exams and Issues tabs.
Thank you, Mike. Thinking about everyday life, we all like the efficiency of logging into a secure website and downloading important documents. Most of us probably do that with our monthly checking account statement or credit card bill. Out of the box, Merit provided the ability for authorized credit union users to securely access and download examination reports from a central location. The credit union dashboard in Merit includes an Exams tab with a list of exam reports issued through Merit. Credit union users can receive an email notification when their exam report is ready in Merit and can log in to retrieve their report. Merit also retains a history of exam reports, so if the credit union needs to download a copy at a future date, it is available to them. This is also a good time to highlight that credit unions will see a new examination report format for NCUA examinations conducted in Merit. This includes a new organizational structure and key ratios page. Finally, you'll see on slide 11, Merit provides the opportunity to respond to examiners and formally request due date changes on examination findings. With today's process, credit unions frequently provide status updates to examiners through email or phone or discussions during examinations. Although effective, we have found examiners and credit unions are often manually tracking compliance with examination concerns until the next exam report is issued to the credit union. The functionality in Merit offers an electronic solution. To help explain this functionality, we would like to orient you to a few new terms. An identified problem or concern is known as an issue in Merit. These can be examiner findings or documents of resolution. An action in Merit is the steps that must be taken to correct the identified problem or concern. For example, an issue could be the credit union is missing approved lending limits. The associated action requires the credit union to update its loan policy and procedures. Each issue and action are assigned formal owners in Merit, known as issue owners and action owners. Issue and action owners are responsible for updating the issue or action in Merit. NCUA and state supervisory authority examiners are always designated as issue owners, since they are the final arbiter for issues found during the examination process. Actions, when assigned to a credit union user for documenting the credit union's corrective actions, will be available on the My Actions table on the Issues tab of the credit union's dashboard. If a credit union user is an action owner, the user can track the finding, and once they have completed any required actions, you can send their response to the examiner through a configured workflow. The examiner will receive an email notification and can close out the findings and send a communication back to the credit union. Additionally, the credit union can formally request a due date extension through Merit if they need more time to correct the examination concern. We understand this is a completely new way of interacting with examiners, and some credit unions may not immediately feel comfortable with this modernized approach. We encourage you to engage in discussions with your NCUA examiner or state regulator as applicable about your preferences. If a credit union user is not the action owner in Merit, then credit unions will provide status updates to the examiner through an alternate method requested by the examiner, such as email, phone, etc. The examiner will assume the responsibility for updating Merit with the credit union's actions to correct the exam problem or concern. The written examination report provided to credit unions will continue to include a complete list of all examination concerns and corrective actions. Lisa Dolan will now provide an overview of the new data exchange application, also known as DEXA.
Thank you, Amber. With the retirement of Aries, we also needed a way to ingest the credit union member, loan, and share data, and saw an opportunity to modernize this process as well. The Data Exchange Application, or DEXA, is a new application for NCUA, credit unions, and state supervisory authority users that is accessed from NCUA Connect. DEXA is strictly an ingest tool that provides authorized users the ability to securely upload the credit union member, loan, and shared data requested during the examination and supervision process. To minimize the impact on credit unions and data processing vendors, the tool utilizes the same data schema we've used for many, many years, provided in NCUA Letter to Credit Unions 03 CU 05. DEXA includes a history of file uploads, data mapping process, and validation report. The most notable change with the use of DEXA is the implementation of new required loan and share mapping files that help facilitate data visualizations for the examiners. These mapping files document the credit union's individual loan and share type codes, if used, to a standard set of categories. The categories are similar to the 5300 call report field used for loans and shares. To streamline the process, only one mapping file is needed for loans and one mapping file for shares. The NCUA does not store or retain those data mapping files after they are uploaded. Therefore, we encourage credit unions to retain this document for future examinations. Credit unions can download the loan and share mapping files from the DEXA webpage on the NCUA's website. Bad or incomplete data can distort analytics, cause confusion, and increase examiner and credit union time researching inaccurate results. Therefore, we implemented a validation process to ensure the data uploaded through DEXA complies with NCUA Letter to Credit Unions 03-CU05, and the new mapping document includes all of the credit union's type codes. DEXA processes all uploads in the order they are received. Once uploaded, the credit union user can log out as they will receive an email notification once the system is done processing, indicating success or failure of the file upload process. If a file fails during the validation process, a downloadable report will be available in DEXA indicating why the file failed. Any files that fail to upload properly must be corrected and re-uploaded. To assist with the transition to DEXA, file compatibility testing is available for credit unions and data processing vendors by submitting a request to the NCUA's Office of Business Innovation email at bimail@ncua.gov. More information about common errors we have seen with loan and share files can be found on the DEXA webpage of the NCUA website. I'll now turn it back to Amber Gravius to talk about available resources and information on how to access these new applications.
Thank you, Lisa. Our team did not underestimate the impact and significant nature of these changes on our user community with a modernization of this size. The NCUA understands the importance of providing examiners and credit unions with the resources and information to utilize this modernized technology. Throughout this presentation, we have mentioned the NCUA's website several times. We have a web page for each application we discussed today that includes user guides and frequently asked questions. We will provide regular updates as our modernization continues and more stakeholders start using these new tools. Additionally, the NCUA recently issued NCUA Letter to Credit Unions 21-CU-08 Implementation of Modernized Systems, which includes important updates regarding the NCUA's recent technology modernization efforts. Although we provided an overview of the admin portal and merit functionality today, we wanted to provide additional training opportunities for credit unions. The Office of Business Innovation partnered with NCUA's Office of Credit Union Resources and Expansion to create a self-paced learning curriculum for Merit. This course is available from the Merit webpage or within NCUA's Learning Management Service and walks credit unions through all of Merit's capabilities. Additionally, we posted a self-guided instructional document on the Admin Portal webpage that describes the Admin Portal functionality. Lastly, before I turn this presentation back to NCUA's Business Innovation Director, Kelly Lay, we wanted to highlight how credit unions can obtain access to NCUA Connect, the Admin Portal, Merit, and DEXA. We encourage credit unions to wait until they are notified of their first exam in Merit before requesting access to these applications or submitting an administrator request. There is no information specific to the credit union in the system until that time. Further, as part of enhanced security, NCUA Connect user accounts are locked after a period of inactivity, and user access would need to be restored once notified of an upcoming examination. That said, credit unions wishing to access these new applications must identify up to 2 individuals as admin portal administrators with delegated responsibility for managing the users for their credit unions. Once approved and confirmed by the NCUA, administrators can add users and grant application access. As part of the process, the administrator will be granted access to NCUA Connect to access the admin portal application. If the designated administrator also needs access to Merit and DEXA, they should include these applications in their request. Administrator requests should be submitted to the NCUA's technical support team at onestop@ncua.gov. Finally, once NCUA receives a request, the NCUA has internal verification and security procedures we must follow before approving the request, and you may experience a delay in your application access. Each requester will be notified once the NCUA has approved your request. We appreciate your understanding. I will now turn this presentation over to the NCUA's Office of Business Innovation Director, Kelly Lay, for closing remarks.
Thank you, Amber. Hopefully our presentation today has inspired our stakeholders about the changes with our new examination tools. Our rollout training for NCUA and state supervisory authorities started in August and extends into the 4th quarter of this year. Throughout this modernization, our team continually looked for ways to improve communication and interact securely with credit unions. We gathered input from NCUA, state supervisory authorities, and credit union stakeholders during development and throughout 2 pilot periods to understand the perspective and needs of examiners and credit unions, provide functionality that improves the examination process for credit unions. We encourage our stakeholders to email us with questions and suggestions for improvement. So it looks like we have time for questions, and I see a number of questions already in the queue. So with that, we will turn it over to Tony Lepore to ask the first question. Tony?
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. First question is, will these new tools affect how NCUA member complaints are sent or received?
Thanks, Tony. This is Kelly Lay, and I'll take that question. So this modernization does not change the member complaint process. You will continue to follow the current procedures for member complaints.
Next question. Will we be able to upload the 5300 call report data to the NCUA server using a text-delimited electronic file or another type of file that was originally created in Excel?
Thanks, Tony. This is Kelly Lay again, and I'll take that question. Thank you for the question. Just to be clear, the modernization that we discussed today did not change the current call report process either, so you will follow the current procedures for the call report.
Next question. Will the Merit file, Aries file replacement, be covered, including the layout and timing at the 9/8/21 webinar?
Thank you, Tony. I will take that question as well. This is Kelly again. So although we're introducing DEXA, which is a new application to upload Aries member files, as we discussed today, the schema is still the same as NCUA Letter to Credit Union 03-CU-05. So you can refer to the DEXA webpage that will include information about some of the common issues that we see with these files that will help you with uploading the files through DEXA.
Okay, next question. Will the webinar be archived for viewing on NCUA's website?
This is Kelly again, and I'll take that one too. So yes, the archive will be accessible from this link and will be available on NCUA's website. Thank you.
Okay, next question. Will there be a dual exam process in place for credit unions, and if so, for how long?
So I'll take that question as well. And so yes, there will be a dual exam process. What we've done is we have offered for all state supervisory authorities to use Merit and our associated systems. We are in the process of actually training both NCUA examiners and state examiners on how to use Merit in our associated systems. And Merit actually allows NCUA and state examiners to perform an exam in one examination file to allow that joint examination process.
Okay, next question. Can external auditors use the DEXA share and loans report to conduct audits?
This is Amber Gravius. I'll take that one. As of now, external auditors do not have access to NCUA Connect or to DEXA or to Merit. So if there's any output reports that you have and you provide to them, you can do that, but they wouldn't have access into the system.
Okay. Next question, I think a DEXA as well. Do loan type codes need to be standardized, or do we use what we have?
This is Amber again. I'll take that one. According to the letter to credit unions are permitted to identify and set their own type codes for loans and for shares. That schema still remains in place, so you can continue to use whatever type codes you have set for your credit union. The mapping document that we talked about will map your codes to a standard set of codes for our analytics, but you don't have to change anything on your systems in order to use DEXA.
Okay, next question. Who receives the email notification that an exam report is ready?
This is Amber. I'll take that one as well. The way that Merit works is when the examiner is working through the examination process, once they have a final exam report created and drafted, during the exam process, they would identify anyone who would receive an email notification that the exam report is available in Merit. So if there's someone particular that you would like to receive that email notification, please coordinate that with your examiner, as it can be anyone who you would like to receive it.
Okay, next question. What will be the process for a credit union to get set up on the benefits of Merit?
All right, I'll take that one as well. This is Amber. And as I just went through in these last few slides, if you want access to NCUA Connect and Merit and DEXA, you will submit a request to onestop@ncua.gov for that access. But what we're asking credit unions to do is to identify an administrator, one or two people who will manage the users for their credit union. Once you have administrator access, you can then add other users for your credit union. So those one-stop requests that come here to NCUA would be for the administrator access and access to Merit and DEXA for that person. Then they can add other users for your credit union.
Okay, next question. Will previous exams be in Merit, or will the exams only be in Merit from this point forward? Lisa?
Yeah, this is Lisa Dolan. I'll take that one. We are not migrating old exam reports into Merit, so only exams performed in Merit, the reports associated with those, will be available on the credit union's dashboard. But what's nice is that you will have the history of your exam reports stored there. So if you're interested in going back a couple of years and pulling up a report, you'll be able to use that download link to download older reports.
Okay, thank you. Can a request be reassigned to a different staff person by the credit union?
This is Amber. I'll take that, and I'm assuming this question is about document request surveys. So a document request survey is sent to an individual at the credit union, and it's assigned to you. You have the ability to add collaborators or other individuals to help complete those requests. A collaborator on a document request survey has the same permissions as the assignee and can actually complete and submit that survey back to the examiner. So although there's not a formal process to reassign that document request survey to someone else, adding them as a collaborator gives them the same permissions that you have to complete that survey request.
Okay, next question. Will state regulators have access for joint exams?
This is Mike, and I'll take that one. We have invited all the state regulators to utilize Merit. At their request, they will have access to use it for solo examinations as well as joint examinations with NCUA.
Thank you. Is the Issues tab for doors or all exam findings and supplementary facts?
This is Amber. I'll take that one. The Issues tab will only include examiner findings and documents of resolution. It does not include supplementary facts.
Okay. Let's see here. Next, use of the tools is currently optional. When will it become mandatory?
Hi, Tony. This is Kelly, and I will take that. So right now, the use of Merit and the associated systems are optional. We do not have a plan for it to become mandatory. We understand, that credit unions may have different processes or choose to not be users. So if that's the case, although we totally believe that there are a lot of exam efficiencies and would encourage credit unions to become users, if they so choose not to, NCUA examiners and state examiners will still perform the exam using Merit, but just will use alternate methods to obtain the information from credit union, share the examination report, et cetera.
Okay. Let's see here. Next, we have what timeline is there for ARIES not to be used?
Hi, this is Amber. I'll take that one. NCUA is planning to start the retirement of ARIES starting later this year after our rollout and training activities conclude.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How will third-party vendors who provide information security auditing services have access to Merit systems so they can they may align with our audits. Previously, the ARIES questionnaire was publicly accessible. Can we apply for access to, for our vendors to have appropriate levels of access to the portal?
Hi, Tony. This is Kelly. So at this point, we do not have plans to add any external vendors or anyone outside of state supervisory authorities and credit union users as users of Merit. So the credit union would need to provide any of that information that might be requested from their auditor to the auditor without allowing access to Merit. We would not approve any external user at this point to become a user of Merit.
Thank you. What information do you need to set up the two administrators for admin portal accounts?
Hi, this is Amber. I'll take that one. When you send that email for your administrators to our one-stop email address, please include their name, their email address, and whether or not they need just administrator access or also need access to Merit and DEXA. If we have any questions about your request, we will email you and send you a message about that. Otherwise, you'll be notified when your request is approved and when your application access will be granted.
Okay, thank you. What lead time will CUs receive notifying them of their first exam in Merit?
This is Kelly, and I'll take that question. So we haven't changed the standard notification timeframe for credit unions about an examination. I believe that timeframe is approximately 4 weeks in advance that an examiner would provide to a credit union in advance of the examination.
Okay, next question. How are supplementary facts going to be received moving forward?
Hi, this is Lisa. I can take that question. So supplementary facts will still be included in your written examination report. So you probably won't see a lot of change, at least from NCUA's perspective, in how you will receive those. They'll just be part of the examination report.
All right. Let's see here. The loan and share files we create now for ARIES, they'll still work for use with the new DEXA system, correct?
This is Mike, and I'll take that one. Yes, the files you currently create and the examiner uses in the ARIES system today will upload into DEXA just like they load into ARIES for the examiner. The difference being that in addition to that file, we will also be asking for a mapping file. And that mapping file will map your loan type codes to our standardized type codes. And the process will be very similar to how you bucket loan types into the call report buckets of new auto, used auto, that kind of thing. So the file will continue to work for Merit just like it does for ARIES.
Okay. Next question. Are we able to export data and updates related to findings or doors?
This is Amber, and I'll take that one. So the Issues tab on the credit union dashboard is only going to list any actions that are assigned to a credit union user. So if the examiner is the action owner, you won't see anything on your dashboard. So at this time, there is not a consolidated list in Merit of all of your issues or actions from your examination report. You'll still need to refer to that at this time for a complete list of them. You can take that form that you would fill out through that workflow of how you resolve what the examiner asked you to complete. You can print that, but we don't have a consolidated report at this time.
Next question. Is there a resource for core providers to use for the ARIES replacement files?
This is Mike, and I'll take that one. Like I previously said, the file hasn't changed, and we have been working with all the major vendors out there, trying to test the files to make sure they upload in DEXA. We also offer that service, as Amber mentioned during her presentation. If you want to reach out to the Office of Business Innovation, we're more than happy to work with you to make sure your files will upload. And if you need assistance in with a mapping file, you can either talk to your examiner or reach out to us here at OBI, and we're happy to help you as well.
Okay, next question. Will the responses to the ACIT be incorporated into these new applications?
This is Mike again, and I'll take that one. We have incorporated the IT review process into Merit, and it is now part of the system that we are using. So yes, the responses are incorporated into this application.
Okay, next question. Is there a reporting feature to determine status by section, etc.?
This is Amber. I'll try to take that one. I'm not sure if this question's referring to actions that may be assigned to you or document request surveys. I'll approach it at least from the document request survey side. When those surveys come in, they're going to be listed on your dashboard, and you can add collaborators to them. When they are submitted back, there is a completed surveys report that you would have access to. From the perspective of the actions on the Issues tab, there is a status column that would list the status of that action as to whether it is open, submitted for review, or closed. So you would be able to see the status on those actions that are on your Issues tab.
Okay. Once we submit the request for access to Merit DEXA system, does this mean we will receive a request for documentation for our next exam?
This is Amber, and I'll take that one. So if you have access to DEXA and Merit, that is one part of the process. The other part of the process will be talking with your examiner about your preferences to submit that items needed list or document request list back to your examiner, and whether you want to use the document request survey functionality we've discussed today, or whether you want to use alternate methods to send the examiner those documents.
Thank you. Next question. Can files be uploaded by a credit union without a survey being requested?
Hi, this is Lisa. I'll take that. Currently, credit unions cannot self-initiate, right? You can't upload documents into Merit without the examiner first sending you a survey. So to be able to provide documents to your examiner, they would initiate a survey to which you could respond.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, next question. Are we going to be required to respond to all issues noted in an exam report through Merit, or would we still issue a formal response report to NCUA? And then the second part is, and if we're a state CU and the state is the lead on the joint exam, would this change our follow-up protocol?
This is Amber, and I'll take that question. Whether this is part of the discussion with the examiner, so whether you want to be an action owner on any exam concerns and use the tool to document how you've complied with the examiner request and sending that back through a workflow. As I mentioned in our presentation, if you choose not to be that action owner, the examiner will handle all those updates in Merit on their side of the tool. If you are a state chartered credit union, once again, it's a conversation with your state regulator about the new capabilities and the new tools and how they would like you to proceed.
Okay, and I think with our time, the final question here, do you anticipate additional time to complete the exam using Merit versus the current process?
Hi, Tony. This is Kelly, and I will take that question. So I would say yes. You know, this is a new tool, and examiners are just learning the new tool. They're going through training right now. And as I'm sure all of you can attest, you know, learning anything new will take some time, and we do anticipate a learning curve. You know, I would just ask that everyone be patient as our examiners are learning the new tool and learning how to interact with you using the new tool and even providing you guidance in using the new tool. We just ask that you all kind of come together and understand there might be a little bit of bumps in the road, but we are working through those and want to make this rollout and everyone's use of the tool a success. And
okay,
with that,
thank you. I think that concludes Q&A. Back to you, Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you. Since you said that was the last question, I just wanted to make a few closing remarks and thank everybody for their time and attention today. We appreciate all of the questions, and we'll be working to make sure that we have answers for you. Of course, as we said early on, this webinar will be recorded, so you will be able to access it once it is finalized and we provide it on the website. In general, I would just like to thank the NCUA board for their support. This achievement really would not have been possible without our executive support across the NCUA, the collaboration with all NCUA offices and regions, and our partnership with the Office of the Chief Information Officer. It's truly amazing what we can accomplish when we all come together to achieve that common goal. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care.